The permanent secretary, public service office, is the main secretariat for the body of permanent secretaries, being the permanent secretary to the head of service. And all PSCs that have served in that capacity have been captains. They are called captains. While the HOS is the head of the body, the PSPSO is the captain. So that is where the capo came from. So is capo, is CAFO, is GELIFO, is anything you want to call it, but that is what it's for. It's just the captain of the body, permanent secretaries, because I'm the one that will let other members of the body know what the HOS wants to do, or when we can have meetings and all that. You know, as we always say, the PSO is the go-to agency. So we remain Capo. So Capo at your service. I'm doffing my hat. Now quickly let's go to the business of today. We are looking at leave of absence. What is leave of absence? You need to know what that is. Leave of absence. Leave of absence from duty is absence from duty authorized on grounds of public policy. Now, this is different from your annual leave, your sick leave, or whatever other leave. This is a special leave, if you want to put it that way. It is authorized on grounds of public policy. All such leave shall be approved without pay by the Civil Service Commission or any other such body on the recommendation of the head of service. Now, the public service rule stipulates that if an officer wants to go on leave of absence, particularly those that want to go on non-elective political appointment, non-elective, and this is the season for it. We're going to have some coming back for a statement, while others are going to be going for leave of absence for non-political, non-elective or not elective political appointment. That means it is not seek election, but they got appointment. We have this because we have new local government and SCDA chairmen, and they're going to be appointing, super Ds and super Ds and PA and all the works. And most of them choose from the public service. So we're going to be having officers asking for this leave. Now, we have had instances where, officers, take this leave. Maybe I should just say this before I forget, where officers apply for leave of absence, or they do not even apply for leave of absence when they are giving non-elective political appointment, particularly those in the local government. And what they will say is that it's not known, or they are not aware of the rules. So I will speak on that later, because we have instances just treated, about 3 of them just faced PMB like a month ago for failing to get approval before proceeding on non-elective political appointment. Now, there are types of leave of absence, and the various types are leave of absence to join spouse on course of instruction of not less than 9 months duration abroad. Now, look at this. It says to join spouse on course of instruction of not less than 9 months duration abroad. Special leave of absence to join spouse on grounds of health or public policy. Leave of absence on grounds of public policy for technical aid program. There have been instances where some civil servants are sent on technical aid program to other countries, so they are granted leave of absence. Leave of absence to take up non-elective political appointment, the one I mentioned earlier. Leave of absence on grounds of public policy for an official whose spouse is the president, vice president, governor, deputy governor, chairman, or vice chairman. Like the wife of Mr. Governor, Her Excellency, she was the MD of one of our hospitals before Mr. Governor became our governor. So she is on leave of absence because she is a civil servant. Now, what are the extant provisions of the public service rule with regard to leave of absence to join spouse? on instruction abroad. Because most of the time, because I need to say this, we misconstrue this to mean that I can join my husband who has jackpot abroad, or join my wife who has jackpot abroad. Now, the rule says an officer, underline the word, an officer who is also a public servant, an officer who is also a public servant shall be permitted to join his spouse proceeding abroad on a course of instruction at government expense. What this says is that that public servant who is joining his spouse abroad is also a public servant. That spouse, as is being sent on course of instruction at government expense. Government can only sponsor their own stuff. They cannot send somebody in Access Bank on course of instruction abroad. So we are saying that the spouse who should request to join husband or wife abroad is that spouse whose husband is a public servant who has gone abroad at government expense, meaning at government instance. The officer is eligible for free passage at government expense where the course of instruction is not less than 9 months. Now, the serving spouse of an officer may be granted leave without pay. I underline the word may, so it is not compulsory. May be granted leave without pay for a period of 4 years in the first instance, and subject to an extension of not more than 1 year to enable him or her now join his or her spouse on posting abroad. So if Okudero is sent abroad, maybe to Nigerian Embassy, Lagos office, if such exists, we don't have such, but then we might have it in the future, then his spouse, who is a civil servant, can join. Now, the rule says 4 years in the first instance. Now, if there is need for an extension, that officer shouldn't wait for the last month of the 4th year to now begin to request. That officer should not wait until the expiration of the 4 years to now say, I think we need an extension. And then you now start writing and then start chasing everybody around because once it expires, you're supposed to return back to duty. Come back and assume duty. So don't assume that because you need an extension, it will be granted to you, particularly when you have not asked on time. At least 3 months before the expiration of the 4 years, you should know if you will need an extension and ask for it on time. Not verbally. What is not written is not said. Ensure that you write to request, you apply to request for an extension, justifying why that extension is necessary. I'm not enjoying this slideshow. Now, what are the grounds for leave of absence on grounds of public policy? Or what grounds do we give this? That the officer's spouse be disallowed from taking up gainful employment. You will recall that an officer is also an officer. So the fact that you are going to join your husband abroad does not mean that you are going to be working there. Oftentimes, when you get a visa, if you read it carefully, if you read all the fine lines, you will see that you should have no recourse to their public funds. Now, you can say, okay, I'm not going to get a job in NHS. I'm going to be doing nanny somewhere. The day we come to monitor to check those are abroad, I'm praying that day will come so that I can have opportunity to at least go abroad and monitor some people who are on leave of absence. But you are that officer, the spouse, is disallowed. Remember that the spouse is there at government expense, government instance, maybe on technical aid or something. So the wife or the husband is not allowed to take up gainful employment. Now, that leave shall not be regarded as a break in service. So when you are granted leave of absence, there is no break in your service. Your service continues. Where such a spouse acquires additional qualification, now we're talking of the officer's wife or husband now, will enhance their usefulness to the service. They shall be considered, not given, it's not automatic. They shall be considered for advancement in consonance with the prevailing regulation. Now, for those that go on elective political appointment, if you are seeing my slide, where it says such a leave shall not be seen as a break in service, you must ensure that you have appraisal. You must have SPADEF. You want to do super education at the local government most of the time, or you've gone on secondment to the federal government agency, when you must ensure that you have SPADEF, that you are being appraised for what you are doing there, because you are seen as working for government in another capacity. So you should have appraisal. You don't come back and expect to get your promotion without SPADEF. So please note that. Now, the period for a spouse can be on leave of absence shall be 4 years in the first instance. I've said they are subject to extension of not more than 1 year. I've said that. Now, what are the extant provisions of the public service rule with regard to leave of absence for non-political, non-elective political appointment? So that's the common one that we see. Besides the ones that want to go and bond with my husband, I want to go and bond with my wife. My children are with my wife abroad, and they are becoming naughty. I need to go and bond. I need to go and bond. They're always going to bond. So what are the rules? Now, there's a circular. The circulars have been issued to that effect, and the circulars had to be issued, if I recall very well. Then, prior to this 2023 circular, there was a circular that said all those that apply for leave of absence must face a PMB. Must appear for a PMB to justify, why they need to go. And there are documents that will ask when you come for these PMBs. We'll want to see your visa. What kind of visa have you been given? Is it visitor's visa? Is it resident permit? You want to know, because we do not, as a responsible government, want to send our officers abroad and they are breaking another nation's law. That's what gave back to that, the first circular that I'm talking about. Now, we've had instances where people just bring fake documents. In fact, that circular that was issued, I'm trying to remember the year now. Okay, I can't remember it on top of my head, but that circular was issued because there was a teacher that wanted to join her husband abroad, and we asked for documentation, as we should. And then she gave us utility bill, to show that, her husband is there and all that. And then the utility bill, you will not believe, was 10 Downing Street. Now, for those of us that know Downing Street, that is where the Prime Minister of UK stays. And then you begin to wonder, how come his husband, the Prime Minister, that she produced? I saw it. It wasn't warning. I saw it. So the PS then, Mrs. I'm trying to remember her name. Just what's wrong with me today? Okay, so Mrs. Gumbanke got very upset and she said, no, this has got to stop. These officers must begin to appear before a PME that will scrutinize the document properly. Because what we have is that the JNHL don't scrutinize. Once they just apply for the leave of absence, it is sent to PSO. Let PSO deal with it. But at your duty post, you are a gatekeeper. I'm talking to the house now. You are the gatekeeper. You don't forward anything and everything to PSO without cross-checking, without advising the officers, so that we are not the ones that will always have to bail the cats. At your own respective departments, your offices, your MDs, please bail the cats. Advise these officers. Let them show you documents that can fly when it gets to PSO. Then it shows us that, yes, you are also working. So that was what led to that circular. But that circular was now like a blanket circular for everyone that was going on leave of absence to appear before a properly constituted PMA. So in 2023, we now asked ourselves, okay, so somebody that is going to Ikorodu local government as super, why are we asking for all the documentation? The officer only needs to show us that letter of appointment from the chairman of the local government that will, of course, indicate, that will stipulate the tenure of that appointment, and then apply. And that's all we need to do. So we said, okay, to save time and to cut short the bureaucracy in giving approvals for leave of absence, this circular 096 of the 6th of October 2023 was issued. That those that are applying for leave of absence for commission, it's not all of it that will go to Civil Service Commission. Some will go to Audit Service Commission. Some will go to HSC. You know, depending on where the officer's career is being managed. Now, we have had instances that I said earlier where some officers, before the approval would go and resume at the salary from two agencies or two arms of government. So an officer cannot be earning salary from local government, earning salary from on Oracle in Alausa. So such an officer will need to back all. The officer will face a PMB because of contravening the rule. And they did it for, in fact, the officer wrote and was asking us to give approval for him, prospectively, the one he did in 2008 up to 2025. And I'm like, sorry, who is this? So that's what happened. So please ensure that when an officer is going on non-elected political appointment, that officer must apply to the commission through the MDA, through the head of service, because that's what the rule says. If the officer intends to come back to the service, that application must be routed through the office of the head of service to get its concurrence. So please ensure that this is done. And because you see, there are times, for instance, the auditor of that local government also had to face the PMB, because the question is, we do pay at site. And that is the audit, the monthly audit. Now, if this officer is working somewhere else as a super agric or something, that means he is no longer in the office working in that agency. So who was signing for that officer that he had been coming to work? So there are some things that we will do in the bid to, we are trying to be nice, but we must understand that every process is auditable. Every process is auditable. So it is when, like they will say, as you will know that, yes, something is happening. So please, in trying to be nice, also ensure that you have your back, your own back. So you don't help someone, you don't help someone to now run into problems with government eventually. Let them do what the rule says. Now, what are the requirements for processing leave of absence? The application duly signed and endorsed by the PS or the head of MDA. PS or head of MDA, not director admin. It could have gone to the director admin, but the PS must know. And it must go through the MDA. Not only the MDA, it must also go through the parent ministry of that agency. There have been instances where an officer is on leave of absence. For instance, the officer is in the admin and human resource cadre, and PSO, the parent ministry, we are not even aware. So it is when we now want to send the officer on course, and they will tell us, the officer is on leave of absence, so it's supposed to resume next year. So please note that the parent ministry of that officer must be aware. So the letter also goes through the parent ministry. Now, copies of relevant documents. That is for those that want to go and join spouse abroad. Resident permit. The reason for the request. Usually what we have is bonding. But then, I don't think the rule that supports going to bond. Yes, you don't want to break marriages. Yes, you want your marriages to work so that it can be productive. But it is now being subject to a lot of abuse. A lot of abuse. Copy of letter of first appointment of the officer. A certified copy of record of service must be attached. Minutes of the personnel management board meeting. And recognition of the head of service before it goes to the respective commission. All this must be attached. Yes, I've seen the circular that I was talking about. It's 19th of June 2018. That's circular that was signed by Mrs. Ogumbanke that stated, what is not very clear here, but I'm sure that as we have the circular booklets from the Ministry of Establishment and Training. If you don't have, go and buy. They have it year by year. So you can buy 2018. If you check 2018, you will see there, circular 049 of 2018 stipulates grant of leave of absence, a review. And it says, an attempt to stem the tide of incessant and baseless requests, it is hereby advised that all public servants seeking leave of absence, especially to join their spouses, must appear before a personnel management board with relevant and convincing documents, such as the visa, the passport data, visa page of spouse abroad. You want to know your spouse's status. Because if your husband has jackpot abroad, he doesn't even have resident permits. He's also there as an illegal immigrant. You now want us to give you approval to go and join your husband on that illegal mission. We are a responsible state. We will not do that, which is why can decide that, okay, so I don't want to stay 4 years. I want to come back at the end of 2 years. You are free to come back. But for crying out loud, do not just go to your office to resume. Now you might think, oh, what is Suki saying? How is that possible? I have seen it happen. We had to give query to both the officer and the DNHR. So please, the officer exited the service on your absence through a particular route. Reinstatement is through that same route. The rule says that the officer should notify the head of service if the officer wants to come back. Now, if you're coming back, you must ensure that you write for reinstatement. You must write for reinstatement through the head of service. Then we will look at it, and then the officer will be reinstated, and the respective commission will be notified. Now, depending on the kind of leave of absence, if it's the one that is non-elective, yes, we will reinstate and we'll send to the commission. If it's the one that you want to join spouse or any other reason on health grounds, on public policy, you write through our office, head of service, through your agency to the commission for your reinstatement. The commission must be documentation. That's the first thing. Officers never give us what we need. And the circular 049 of 2018 that I looked at is very, specific on what you should submit. But in the bid to hide or whatever, the officers never submit this. So, and this would delay the process. This will always delay the process. So DNHR also should ensure that the documents that the officer is submitting to you, the documents are in line with what the circular has requested for. Yes, thank you. Keep going to get to issues and challenges. So ensure that that is there, so that there is no delay in the processing. Another thing that causes delay is that officers never apply on time. They never apply on time. This person wants to travel in September
is applying now in August. No, nobody's going to be railroaded into, processing it that fast, because you still have to first a PMB, apply for a PMB. It goes, they do minutes, it goes to the commission, and all. So the officer must, apply on time, at least 3 months to the time you want to leave. I don't know what causes the delay. Is that they are waiting for visa to drop or something? But at least you know that you are going. There's nothing stopping you from applying. Now, if you apply and by chance the visa is not granted, you can always withdraw your application. So it is safer to err on the side of caution than to wait and then you now say, they did not do it on time. Then DNHRs are not doing the needful. I have said it. You are the ones dropping the ball. Don't pass the ball to PSO to do for you. At your own desk, you are the gatekeeper. Check that all documentations are in line with what the circular says she should submit, is in line with the requirements, and then please forward it on time. There are times that the officer would have applied just ordinary endorsement of the HOD and the PS will take weeks in the same ministry, even if the person is in your satellite or your zonal office. It is still Lagos State. The person is not in Kaduna. So I don't know why we delay in processing. So please, timeliness is of essence. DNHRs, please. Timeliness is of essence. Ensure that you do the needful at every point in time. Do not be found wanting at your duty post. Then, of course, we have the JAPA syndrome and the follow-up process. That has led to a lot of issues in the service. We all know what JAPA is. We all know that it's now a syndrome. It's now an epidemic. Now, what happens when an officer has JAPA'd? That officer is not a ghost. That officer was working with somebody before the officer JAPA'd. But in the bid to be Mr. and Mrs. Nice, we do not report. We don't do anything. There is no follow-up. Somebody got leave of absence to travel for 4 years, or even study leave, or even annual leave. And the officer is supposed to resume on a particular date. The officer is not back. The DNHR and the HOD should know. Because when an officer goes on leave and the officer resumes from that leave, even if it's annual leave, that officer must fill assumption of duty form. Unless you're not doing it in your ministry. If you are doing it, you would know that this officer is supposed to have resumed since July. This is 3rd of August. The officer is not here. You should know. And then you follow up. Find out first, because we are human resource practitioners, you don't just go and issue query, boom. That's not the first thing. Call the officer. Just do your own with a humane face first. What is happening? You're supposed to have resumed so time. Why have you not resumed? And then the officer tells you, and he gives you one flimsy excuse. Now you can issue a query. And then when you call the officer, document it. Your phone should show that you have called the officer, for instance. You can send a WhatsApp message. You can send an email to the officer. So you should have something that will show that at so date, I got in touch with the officer. You should always do that. You must follow up. You don't keep losing sight of officers because the officer has jackpot and you're not doing your work, which is why every time we have complaints, the DNHR gets the blame. So you should know. And then the auditor, of course, will also know. When the officer is not back, who is signing for that officer that is around? Who is that person that is signing? That person is going to be liable when the chiefs are down. So we must follow up. You follow up, and then when you know that this officer has actually jackpot, please begin and conclude the process of disciplinary proceedings. Don't give a query and leave it in the fire. Send the query to the officer's last known official address. That is your own part as the DNHR. The officer, of course, should also know that they need to inform the office. Now, where the officer has not jackpot, maybe something happened in the course of the leave, the officer should notify the office. So the officer too has a responsibility to ensure that the office knows what is going on in his or her life. If that person is working in Chevron, he won't just go and sit down wherever and say, oh, he or she was ill or whatever, or he fell down and broke his leg, or give you all these reasons if they work in Chevron. But because it's the public service, and because we allow these things to happen, they get away with murder. So you must begin and conclude the process of disciplinary proceeding. The officer probably will not appear for PMB. It doesn't matter. There's something called dismissal in the PSR as a punishment. So we must ensure that we always follow up. And the same thing with consequent management of non-compliance. What do we do when this officer is obviously not complying with the rules? What do we do? Do we hide behind a finger? Are we burying our head in the ground like the ostrich, where the whole body is showing and then the head is hidden in the ground? Consequent management, that's the only thing that can put sanity into the service. You must never shy away. As directors of admin and HR, as human resource practitioners, you can never shy away from consequent management. You must never shy away from it. So without taking much of our time, I'd like to say thank you for your kind attention. So I would like to have comments, feedback, or questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. That was, I don't know what to say. But I didn't expect anything less. So please, if you have questions, please kindly drop your questions. Thank you so much for this beautiful presentation, my PS Ma and my Capo Ma. Okay, so we have 274 people on this call, and I'm sure that there are a lot of questions. Yes. A lot of people are giving you kudos on the chat box. Please kindly respond to them. Let them know you're seeing it.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm seeing it. Olubusayo. There's somebody iPhone, Olayinka. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yewole. I see you. I can see the applause. Abiono, Jikutu, Kenny, Akisuluri Olakweju, all of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
It's such an honor to have you here, Ma, because this conversation is an amazing conversation. Okay, Doctor, you can have the floor. You want to say something?
All right. Ma, I don't know. Can I thank you enough? What else will I say? What else will I say? You've opened our eyes again on this platform. Okay, this is exactly what we do here, Ma. We come together to learn and to get better on this job so that we can hope will be rising, especially in this our cadre that we are in the service. And I've said it here on this platform that when you see a society that is functioning very well, check the public service. And when you see a public service that is also doing well, check the the spinal cord, which is the HR cadre. And that's what we are doing here. That's what we are doing here. We want to say thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for this insightful presentation. Oh, something is echoing somewhere to shed light on two things before we begin to address other questions. The first one is that is it that we are now saying, are you hearing me, ma'am? Hello, ma'am. Hello. So, ma, two issues that I want you to shed light on. So, during your presentation, ma, I was like deducing that it simply means that the officer who wants to join our spouse on course of instruction must be a public servant, and the officer on that particular course of instruction is also a public servant. So the two of them must be public servants. Is that
yes? Yes.
Thank you, man. That's it. That's the stance. God bless you, man. Then the other one is that the last phrase of your presentation was actually talking about consequence management of not
Yes.
compliance. Please, man, shed light, give examples, practical examples, so that people will know what consequence management is all about. Some people, you've just scratched it on the head. Help us with practical examples, man. Thank you so much, man. Before we now begin to attend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Olago. So, consequence management is just ensuring that where an officer has an infraction, for instance, somebody was given approval to go for study leave, and then at the end of the study leave, the officer does not resume. So what are the consequences? What does the rule say? That's why I said you must always follow up. And I think I explained when I was talking about the Japa syndrome and the follow-up process. You must ensure that you begin and end the proceedings. So first you call the officer, what is going on? And you see, for study leave, or even those on leave of absence, I've said it to people some lecturers I've spoken with, that when somebody is on leave of absence, you can track. Let the person you are in our view. So maybe every 3 or 4 months, you send a message. Oh, how are you, Mrs. or Mr. Lagbaja? Trust you are fine. We are looking forward to seeing you at the end of, and then when it's like 6 months to resumption, you send an email again to the officer. Oh, how is the family, or how is work, or whatever it is that the person is going to do? How are your studies? Looking forward to see you back at the end of, you put the date at 31st of August 2025. We hope that all that you have learned to bring back to the service, for us to enjoy the same value. So that the officer knows that I'm being tracked too. But somebody goes on 4 years leave, nobody has said hello except his friends or her friends in 4 years. So he believes that nobody's even seeing what is going on. Wow. Am I still on? This my thing is showing again.
Yeah, you're on, man.
Are you still okay?
You're still on, ma.
Okay, thank you. So there has to be a way of checking. These are things I want the editors to come up with how can we deal with things like this, because we have a lot of officers. When we had the audit exercise, a lot of issues came to the fore, and who will take the blame mostly? Not just the officer alone, the DNHR. That's why you are there. So consequence management is ensuring that the rules are followed to the letter. Where there is no compliance, for instance, that officer that went on non-elective political appointment and was earning 2 salaries, I ensured, despite all the calls I got from political, wannabes, I ensured that he faced the PMB. At least they face it, because it's not just one person, that they faced the PMB. So that it will send a message to others, as it will serve as a deterrent to others. That you cannot just do as you like because you have godfather somewhere. The service is still the service. So we should ensure that we follow the rules. So non-compliance should not be overlooked, should not be brushed aside, should not be swept under the carpet. We should dust our PSR. And what is it talking about? So they know that, yes, you are watching. I talk about the issue of the officer. This was not even leave of absence. The officer resigned voluntarily. I think, of course, I know that she went abroad, even though she said she did not go abroad. She went abroad to go and meet her husband or whoever. I think it didn't work out. The officer just walked back to the office and resumed duty. Can you beat that? Just resumed. You can resume. And there's a DNHR in that place. Not only that, between the DNHR and the auditor, they wrote to SEO to reinstate the officer on Oracle for payment, for salary payments.
Wow.
So you can imagine. So there are things that we are seeing that you will not believe are happening. Musa is seeing a lot of things at the gates. So that one too, we ensure that something was done. So we should never be afraid to wield the carrot and the stick. You should never. That is why you are the gatekeepers. I keep saying it. You are the engine, you are the oil that lubricates the engine. Okudero said we are the backbone. Yes. We are the support system for the service. So we should ensure that we do what is right at any time. It's not witch hunting. It is you doing your job. Because if A does it and nothing happens, B, C, D will do it and nothing will happen. Because they have seen somebody else do it. And then when you now want to wield the stick on C, she will say, but madam, A and B did it now. Which is why you should not be found wanting at your duty post. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
very
much.
Thank you very much, Sma. Thank you very much, Doctor. We have loads of questions, and I don't know if we can finish taking everything, but let's just try. Kapom, are you ready? So I can start reading the questions. Okay, apologies. Yes, so apologies to everyone. I don't know if I should call Mr. or Mrs., but I'm just going to be calling your names as the question comes in. Okay, the first question is, can an officer write to leave the civil service while still on leave of absence without coming back? This is from Lano. Ma, did you get that?
Yes, I did. And the answer is no.
Okay, no. Thank you. Okay, the second question is, Ma, in most MDAs, the A and HR is often a weak link and very frustrating. How do we go about these inefficiencies? Who should we speak with? Tope Oniganjo asked that question.
So we are as strong as our weakest link. And that is why I said my colleagues in the admin and human resource, we are dropping the ball. So I want to believe that capacity building such as this will help to strengthen our weak links. That is why I commend what Okudero is doing. I commend what your Eliton is doing, because we can't just do this enough. Nobody can know everything. The rules are there, but then even when you know the rules, are you applying it? Are you applying it? So it's a question for you and I to answer. Those that want to do it, meanwhile, you are just doing what you should be doing, so that the system will not, become like a jungle. So, Tope, I can feel you, but I believe that, well, if the DRHR is not up and doing, you can go up and talk to your PS. You can come to PSO. We'll give you advice. Our doors are always open in PSO.
They can also seek advice on the platform. We do that once in a while.
The platform from a community of knowledge, other DRHRs, from your colleagues. They also know it. Your colleagues are also very good in these things.
And some of those issues, will have been addressed, and then they are being uploaded on our YouTube channel. They can watch it and watch it and watch it. YouTube again, channel is there for us to go back and watch and watch and watch and get familiar. Yes, ma'am.
You will not believe that. I think it was this morning or yesterday morning. I saw the one that Otubu did on personnel budget.
Okay.
Wow, that was beautiful. And I have decided that if by tomorrow, from tomorrow, we'll be having a capacity building for some of our directors at ASCON. I'm going to play it. I've said I'm going to play it. It's going to be part of what our school is in. Everybody must listen because it will form part of their assessment.
Okay.
I'm going to play it for everybody to listen. It did a very good presentation. Everything was well granulated. And really, so I give kudos to you guys. I'm really very impressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So that
is why you are the capo. Okay, Mrs. Tope, I acknowledge your hand, but please we'll have to take 2 more questions before you can speak. So I acknowledge you. The next question is, with remote work, technology, and flexible arrangements becoming popular, do you foresee the concept of leave of absence changing in the public service, where staff goes to get work from? Okay, staff get to work from wherever he or she is.
So is that person on leave now? Because remote work, you're not on leave, you're still you're a staff, you're a serving staff. So remote work is different. Well, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. But for now, and of course, we know that we are reviewing public service rule. It's long overdue. The one we have now is 2015. We are going to get 2025 very soon. Lighton is also on the team, so she knows how far we have gone. So remote work, okay, we'll see how it goes. But if you say remote work, so are you now on leave of absence, or you want to work remotely?
Interesting question. Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, the next question before we take someone to speak. What happened if someone applied for leave of absence and PMB had approved it and visa was denied? Since you said applicants must apply later, and I'm sorry, I need to rephrase this question. What happened if someone applied for leave of absence and PMB had approved it? Visa was denied, and since the applicant must apply later, will the person apply for leave of absence?
Yes, I said that in my presentation. That's my presentation. And just Yorubas will say, I also said that you should err on the side of caution. So if visa is denied, then you just quickly write and say, sorry, I can no longer. And I don't think any PMB is going to approve any leave of absence for you without having seen visa. In fact, that's part of what you're going to show. Okay, so what is the basis for approving for you to go abroad, or recommending, not even approving, because commission will approve, recommending that you can be granted leave of absence? On what basis? You must have a valid visa. Valid. When I say valid now, for instance, you're going to UK for the first time and they give you 6 months visa. And you're applying to government to give you approval to go on leave of absence for 4 years. Turn you down. The PMB will not recommend it because your visa is 6 months, your application is 4 years. Do you understand? That is why we say documentation is very important. And like I said, we are a responsible government. We will not allow officers to go and commit illegality in another man's, because it will become diplomatic problem. And we should not be part of that. So if your visa is saying is 6 months and you're applying for 4 years, it will not be granted. And then if you apply, if you apply early enough, if you apply, for instance, you want to go in September and you apply in April, and it has recommended and goes to commission, and you don't want to go again, you can withdraw. Just ensure that you write. Never be afraid to write. Write to withdraw your application. It's as simple as that.
Never be afraid to write.
Yes,
that's very important. Okay, we'll take one last question before I'm trying to filter the questions to see the ones you have answered before, so we don't have repetitions of questions. In a situation where someone might have been given 4 years approval and an extension for 1 year and failed to come back after the extension, what are the consequences? Olateju is asking.
Dismissal.
Damn. Kapas. Okay, Ms. Kemi, please, I'm going to unmute you now. Can you ask your questions very fast so that we can answer?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. The Permanent Secretary, ma'am. My question is in line with, I think, the review that is going on for the public service rule. Yes. Considering the mental health status of people now, what is the public service doing in reviewing leave of absence for officers who at a point in their life just want to have a break? For example, about 4 years ago, in the ministry there was a woman who lost her husband, and she had so much pressure, from the family, and she couldn't cope. And she just wanted to be out of work and just settle herself. But unfortunately, because the leave of absence does not cover that, she was denied and wasn't granted. So, looking at this, what is the government doing in reviewing leave of absence, just like sabbatical leave for lecturers, and can one at a point in one's career just say, okay, I just need a break to be sane? Because when you look at some things, they are not just going right. I just need a break. Can I be considered for that? That's my question. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know which PMB failed to recommend, the woman for, because the rule, if you check the rule and if you check my presentation, you can't go on leave of absence on grounds of health. And wellness is health. But there should be documentation. Because you see, if you're not careful, everything is prone to abuse. And like I said, every process is auditable. If you're not careful, abuse will come into it. As long as that person is not going abroad, if you're going abroad and you can, prove that you have all necessary documentation to go abroad, to just take a chill pill, no problem. But you must have doctor's reports that, oh, my well-being is being affected. You can't just say you just want to fill out on your own. Then the person can exit. But if you want to chill out based on wellness, on health grounds, that can be done. And I can assure you that without wanting to divulge all that is in the new PSR until it has gone to ESCO and Mr. Governor for approval, we have looked at wellness, we have looked at a lot of things. We have taken another look even at this legal absence issue. It's going to be a very robust public service rule. You can trust Lagos State Center of Excellence.
Thank you for the assurance, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you, ma. Okay, ma, let's just, we have some other questions. Someone is asking, what are the types of leave of absence? I'm not going to answer that.
You should go and check
PS
that
had
on the
mentioned
YouTube
it.
channel.
Exactly. PS has mentioned it. Okay, so someone is also asking, what strategies can civil service structure of, I didn't get this question. Let me just ask another question. Okay, there are two types of appointments in the local government, which are supervisor and SA to the chairman. What about SA to chairman appointment? Will it be the same procedure?
Yes. Okay. As long as you are leaving the service to go and do that, yes. For instance, if you're working in the local government, local government, for instance, your local government staff, and you are picked as the PA to the chairman, no problem. But if you are picked from PSO or anywhere else, and you want to go, that is what we call non-elective political appointment. It's political appointment. When you are super agric, super education, super health, it's a political appointment, but it is non-elective. Yes, the process, and I said the process has been reviewed. You don't have to go through a PMB, but bring all your documentations, letter of appointment. Let's see it. And then your application, duly signed, duly properly routed. Look at it. But you don't have to go through a PMB.
Thank you very much, ma. Okay, the next question is, in a case where officer is seconded to another MDA, then he absconded from his duty for almost 4 weeks, but HR wasn't informed of the necessary action. Meanwhile, his immediate boss was aware. What would be the fate of the HR in this regard?
So the HR, like I said, should not be afraid to write. HR should do a report to the accounting officer what has transpired. And then that HOD of the officer should get a query, because that person was probably hiding the fact, because he or she must have been aware that the officer wasn't coming to work. And that's not a comment. I must correct that. The question is not a comment, that's deployment. You cannot be seconded from one agency to the other. I cannot second light on from staff to PSO. That's deployment. Secondment is different. So please, maybe another time we look at secondment.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. That's noted. What should be done when there is lapses on the side of the DA and HR, particularly when the request of an officer needs some correction and in the area of channel of processes? Most times the officer waits endlessly without any concrete feedback. A lot needs to be done in this regard, ma'am.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think training and retraining and talking to ourselves, and of course, bringing in consequence management into it now by the AO, that's the accounting officer. So the officer can walk up to the PS, if you're not afraid, to go and report. Because this thing borders on your career, for instance. Okay, let me give you an example. And I'm sure we have that are involved, even on this platform. Every year, we ask for returns on Public Service Week, Best Officer, and the Non-Service Merit Award. There will always be late returns, every time. I had it up to here this time, and I said, okay, so before I retire in 2 years' time, let's put some, sanity into the system. So whoever does not submit within the time stipulated will get queried. And then from the response to the query, take it up from there. And that's what we are doing. Because we should not be afraid to bail the cat. We should not be afraid to bite the bullet, so that we can have some sanity in the system. Because some people's career are at stake. Every file that you leave on your table unattended to is somebody's life. It's not somebody's life. That's why personally, for me, and I'm sure that I have officers on the call, I never leave my office on a daily basis without finishing what I want to do.
Capo, say it
every
again.
file. I finish every file on my table. My officers can attest to it if they are on the call. No matter how high the mountain is, I devour it before I leave. Because everything you leave there is somebody's life. Every file has a life. Somebody wants to go on leave and has applied, and then you just sit down on it as a day and HR. For what? You leave your homes in the morning to go to work. So when you get to work, do the work. We need to stop toying with people's lives. So those of you that have stepped on your toes by giving you the query, Emma Binu, but the system just needs to be sanitized.
Capo, this is exactly what I was asking for when I was saying, please shed light, give practical example to consequence management. Thank you so much.
That's the example.
Thank you so much. Your people are actually confirming that you don't leave your office without attending. They are saying, yes, correct, ma. Very true.
I never leave my office.
I'm not in PSO. I'm not in PSO, but I know that she never leaves the files on.
Thank you. And that's what we
Somebody said, sorry,
yes,
I saw a comment. Somebody said, sometimes it's the AO's fault. Okay, so without holding courts for my colleagues, the accounting officers, when you put something on the AO's table, can the DNHR please follow up? Don't just send it there and say, oh, I'll leave the table PS. Follow up. If that thing can you only file here, I'm going for any 1 million, we'll follow up.
I 1 million, ma. Capo, 1 million.
I'm follow up. So what's from following up? I'm sorry, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, ma. I sent Mrs. Olaiton's episode to your table yesterday, ma. Go to your do you understand? Because the AO2 has a lot going. That's no excuse, because I don't see it as an excuse. Like I said, I don't do it. And it's just my own personal resolve. Because PSO, if you leave it there, the next day, you will bury yourself in fire. So I don't do it.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma. It's such an honor to see you speak so passionate about your job. And I'm sure that we young admin and HR officers were also learning so much from all of the things that you are saying. And it's such a privilege to be here, honestly. Thank you so much once again, ma. Okay, I'll just, there's a question, there are a lot of questions, but I'm just trying to filter them. I apologize if we're not able to answer your questions. You can put them on the platform. Doctor would do justice to it. And we would be very, very grateful to have Capo on our platform too. So just in case, you might be passing by and just drop comments for us, ma.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, ma. The next question is, you said officers on leave of absence should submit SPADEF. Who signs it, ma?
So you are working with somebody when you go on leave of absence. You are super something in the local government. You are working with the chairman. They have HOAs. Somebody must see you work, because there's no free promotion. You will not go after 4 or 5 years, come back and say, I want to be at par. Because all we hear is people wanting to be at par. And just before I forget, I don't know whether the officer is on the call or not, but if you are, please take this advice. I've already spoken to your head of your HOD that we got a letter from a federal agency asking for your secondment. You need to apply. It's not automatic that because an agency or federal government has requested for your secondment, you will just go and resume. You will need to apply to the Civil Service Commission in this instance through our office, PSO, through my office because you are an admin officer. I'm saying this if person is on call. If you're not on call, well, I'm sure your head of department will let you know. So what I'm saying is that because they requested for you in Abuja, does not mean that you just take up your bag and you move to Abuja. There is a process to be followed. Otherwise, at the end of Abuja, you might not have a job waiting for you. So please ensure that you follow due process.
Thank you very much, Ma. Ma, do you mind answering 2 more questions?
I don't mind. I'm having fun.
Okay, Ma. The officer decided to leave the officer that decided to leave service without prior notification, and the office tried to issue him or her a query for 3 times. The first query, second query, third query, but the letter was not received in the address he or she was living before, and another one was sent to the place and refused, and it was refused again. And now we heard that the officer is late. What can we do? Oh, wow.
Well, you can no longer dismiss a deceased officer. But that is why timeliness is of essence. I'm sure the officer did not die the instant he said he wasn't coming back. Now, we have had instances where an officer japa or refused to resume duty after approved leave. When a query is issued to the last known official address, and it's not taken there, send it by courier. Because we have had issues with the Ministry of Justice. I've just issues with the Ministry of Justice when they come for such PMBs. And we're saying, officer, it's Ijakpa. We all know it's Ijakpa. Why won't we just conclude this PMB? And they will tell us, no, we must follow the due process. Because there are times that the officer will go to court and then we have issues. So that we don't lose case. When you want to issue a query, maybe I should just give this as a takeaway as well. For whatever reason, whether it is Ijakpa or any other issue, any other infraction, when you want to issue a query, issue the query believing that this matter will end in court. So it means that on your own, you will follow every step that you should follow because you believe that this matter may end in court. So you cover all the grounds. And that's how to do it. But if you just want to do it for the sake of if you have money or all those ones that are doing, and then the matter now gets out of hand, don't go to Halemo to that query, there's a problem. So when you want to issue a query, please ensure that your last thought, your projection is that this matter will end up in court. And because you are the one issuing the query, you want to win the case anyway, because there's an infraction. So when you issue a query to an officer's last known official address and it's not received, if there have been times that they want to beat the dispatch rider, if you want to place it on the wall, send it by courier. If it's not received, the courier will send it back to you and to tell us not received or whatever. So you have document to show that you have done all due diligence in forwarding that query to the officer's last known address. So as a follow-up as well, can we all ensure that all our officers update their records? Can your position list and nominal roles be correct? So when you move from Adekunle to Parkview, just let us know that you have moved. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Let us know that we have moved.
Thank you very much, Ma. I saw Mr. Olaigbe's hand up, but I don't know if he still wants to ask this question. But before that, on expiry of stipulated 4 years and extra 1 year, is there a need to write officially again notifying his return?
notifying that you are coming back or that you want an extension. Which is it?
Both of them.
No, the first
Maybe
instance, the rule says 5 years. So you have spent your 5 years, come back.
come back. Okay.
Yes, that's what the rule says. Maybe later when the rule now says 10 years. But for now, there is no room to maneuver. But of course, every case on its own merits. For now, the rule says 5 years. If you have a very compelling reason, for instance, okay, let me give an example. When Mr. Brymon was my PS in PSO, there was this officer that the husband is a federal officer, a WAEC officer in Ghana. And then she had exhausted the approved leave of absence period. But the officer still needed to stay back. The husband needed to stay back on that appointment. She got the documentation. So my mom said, no, this person is an official of government, be it federal or state, and he's still serving government. So the wife should still be allowed. So she applied, we looked at it, on that merit, forwarded to the commission, it was approved. So every case on its own merit. So don't tar all death with the same brush. Don't apply one rule to everybody. Look at every, because there will be issue behind the issue, matter behind the matter. But you must look at, critically before you take, that's why we call it informed decision. Don't just decide, you are taking an informed decision. Having looked at all parameters, you now take an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Nothing really beats real life scenarios, and I love the way you're explaining it.
Yes,
nothing beats it. Okay, this officer, I can see your hands up, Shakira. 1 minute, please. If an officer obtained leave of absence on the grounds of public policy, it was discovered that he actually participated in the election. Please, ma, be empathetic. Can a public servant obtain leave of absence for elective office?
No, that's not what the rule says. Because if the electoral law, you see, we are looking at all these laws all together. What does the electoral law say? Does it say that you can contest an election while in office? Because when you are on leave of absence, you are still a staff. So why are you keeping it? That's not how it is done. The rule says you exit the service. It says that if you do it properly, you exit voluntarily. You resign, you do everything you need to do.
Can come back.
Who says that if you lose the election, you cannot come back to the service? You reapply. If it is within 6 months, you can still be, considered and reinstated, or you come and get a fresh appointment. And people should not be thinking that fresh appointment is a big issue. You could be taken back on the level that you left. Remember that you see all these rules, look at it in totality. That's why we must have knowledge. Now it is contributory pension. It's no longer pay as you go. Do you understand? So it is what contribute that you will get. So if you decide to leave service today, I contributed 10 million, that's what you will get. If you come back, you continue from the 10 million. The PFA is still there. So that officer that wants to go for electoral, that's why there's a difference between non-elective political appointment and elective. And as at what time is it now? Is it 8 o'clock or whatever? 3rd of August, the rule says resign.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma. You can't eat your cake and have it. Okay, let's take Mr. Olaigbe. Mr. Olaigbe, I see your hands up. I called you earlier. I think you left. But you can unmute yourself now and ask your question. Then we'll take one final question, then we'll have that for the day. Mr. Olaigbe, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much for a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Thank you, my PS ma. Ọlọ́run wá wà pẹ̀lú yín lágbára Ọlọ́run. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I have a question, ma, on this leave of absence. Yeah, and it has to do with an officer who sought for leave of absence and being granted on health ground. On health ground. Now, how would the person do the aspect of SPADEF?
And so that's an issue that we need to look at, because obviously the health issue is not SPADEF earning. So whoever cannot get seniority back just like that and come and end seniority. The commission will look at it. For instance, if the officer was away for 4 years, the commission would consider it and say, every year that the officer resumes, he does the promotion interview. So that's 4 years. So this year, maybe it was supposed to be on, maybe he left at level 13, and he should have gotten level 14 in year 1 of the approved leave. Abi? So when he comes back, he will wait and 1 year SPADEF, do promotion to next level.
Okay.
And another SPADEF, do promotion. Even those that are not on health ground, even those that are going for all this political blah, blah, blah. That's how they get their promotion. They don't come back, drop SPADEF at the end promotion like that.
So they must. Okay.
So the commissions, yes, the commission will consider it. That, okay, let's look at it, because the commission will have to look at the report of the doctor. Because an officer that takes LOA for on health grounds will not just come back and say, I'm fine. I want to see a detailed medical report from a certified doctor and hospital that says, yes, you are fine to resume.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma.
Okay, Ma.
Okay, the final question is going to be, Shakira, I can't see your hands up again. Oh. Are you still ready to ask your question? We're taking you last. You're the last person. So that tomorrow is Monday. We've enjoyed Capo enough. So
Miss Olegbe,
please,
pull down your hands. Okay.
Yourself. Can you unmute yourself, Shakira? I saw your hand earlier.
Maybe our question has been answered.
Oh, she's talking. Okay, has your question been answered? Okay, fine. Doctor, so we don't waste much of our time. This is 8:30 already.
All right.
You have the floor.
All right. Thank you. Ma, honestly,
yes, sir.
About questioning means kò lè kọsẹ̀ o. Kò lè kọsẹ̀. Honestly, ma, because you know, this issue of leave of absence, except for people that are not here on this call, honestly, we don't have issue any longer. You know, I know that yeah, you can be very good when you are doing presentation, but this night, I mean, I don't know how to describe you. You were talking about your personal business with this kind of passion, and someone like me is being encouraged the more to carry on this mentorship series. It's a good way to encourage me. You have encouraged me, and I want to also use this opportunity to appeal to professionals on this call. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, share, make comments, and let's see how we can get this thing better than this. Honestly, it's been a wonderful night, a fulfilling night for me. I'm gonna meet every one of us. Capo, that's our usual.
That's your style.
Yeah, that's our usual style here. I will unmute everybody. We will sing for you. We will say, because you are a jolly good mama, jolly good fellow, jolly good capo. And that's what we are going to do now, just to let you know that we love you. We appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much, ma. We cannot appreciate you enough. But be rest assured, ma, that you are coming back. Please give us that your word.
I look forward to it. I was also commend you, your team, Olaiton, Jamil, all of you. Really, this is very impressive.
Thank you so much.
You're not holding information. They're not wanting us to be the best, because
No,
if you are just the best amongst others, kò sí, I mean, one poor rich man poor people, one poor nìyẹn. But you know, iron must sharpen iron.
Capunat iron, yes, ma. Yes, ma.
And that is what you are doing. And really, I can't just say, can't say much, but to say that God should just bless you. God will bless the work of your hand.
Amen.
Because you are rescuing this cadre from the issues that we have. Because on a daily basis,
yes,
you know, we see and we hear issues concerning the admin and human resource. And if we say we are the one that lubricates the engine, engine different knock if I you.
Koni knock, ma.
Koni knock.
Amen. That's why I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you,
really.
Ma.
And please keep it up.
Ma, somebody is greeting you, Sukilicious. Am I allowed? you should know who can
I must
do
be
that.
a PSO person.
So, ma, honestly, I'm so excited that you are the one that has taken us in this first leg of the month of August. So we are looking forward to second leg, which will be very soon. It's coming up very soon. So I'm unmuting us. Please, ma, there are videos on how to write good submission that I did here, how to write ESCO memo, how to write technical report writing. They are all gonna be uploaded on the YouTube channel. See, relax at home, watch them, and then begin to learn and unlearn. You will enjoy the YouTube channel. They are there for you to. In fact, we brought someone on AI. How we can use AI. Wow. We've done that on this platform. It's on the YouTube. It's on the YouTube.
So that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much, ma. The YouTube channel has been dropped. It will be dropped again on the chat box. Please go there, watch and rewatch and watch and watch. Okay, it's been dropped again. Thank you for dropping it once again. So please, can we come and do our ritual here? Let's appreciate this capo, this sweet capo that has, in fact, I can see you in another form today, honestly. So